I did something stupid. Really stupid. The only thing I can do now is to pray to the Almighty and face the consequences. Yeah.
I could swear some things that should be there are missing. What are you hiding, Lucia? Do you know about something? Are you hiding it too?
I'm not hiding anything, Aunt Rebecca.
You, Amador, had something to do with Trini's death.
What? You are far worse than I imagined, Rebecca.
What are you talking about?
About Mrs. Trini, what else? You can't deny that it was pretty convenient for you that she died precisely now, huh?
Please don't leave me, Marcelo. Marcelo, if I lose you, I know that I wouldn't survive this.
Suzanne, and I'm coming from the Netherlands, Amsterdam, to see dolphins and the beauty of nature in Kenya.
Here is a very nice place. Here's, the hotel is good, it's okay, it's nice. And the ocean is also beautiful. Yeah, this area is always warm. In Holland, where we're living, is different types of weather. You have the winter, the spring, summer, and here is always warm, even in the winter. So that's why it's beautiful.
Beauty of the country, the wildlife, the people, because they're very nice to be here. Crab, and I like to eat fish and lobster.
People, everyone like it and helpful. It's a little different than for us to see the ocean and people who are too different of culture.
What I really appreciate is the richness we have in the water. We have to take good care of it.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Lunchtime News. My name is Jackie Wambiru. Our sign language interpreter is Suzanne Thuku. And to kick off this broadcast, calls for ethical leadership and justice took center stage during a ceremony at State House in which 54 senior councils were conferred. President William Ruto challenged the senior councils to use their elevation to strengthen Kenya's justice system and safeguard the country's democratic values. The president hailed the advocates for their outstanding, saying they have demonstrated to Justice Mother Kenya's restore their reputation, expand and ethical leadership.
Comes an even greater to safeguard our institute, to support and over. It is important that we are mind look after. Whatever it is, we must keep the greater national interest.
To take the reins, professional competence is from integrity. It falls upon you, colleagues, to ensure that the guardian of justice merely of
In other news, the Secretary to the Cabinet, Mercy Wanjau, has challenged the Association of Women Accountants of Kenya to lead in fostering an inclusive culture by empowering young women professionals in the field to thrive competitively, locally and globally. Speaking at a Nairobi hotel during the 2025 annual dinner for women accountants, Wanjau urged the accountants to commit to professionalism and integrity while discharging their responsibilities.
The Association of Women Accountants of Kenya hosted its 2025 annual dinner in Nairobi, an event that was aimed at fostering new friendships and professional connections for women accountants from various sectors. Under the theme, The Power of the Pause, Integrating Mindfulness, Stress Management, the dinner was to enable networking and exchange of ideas between women players in the sector.
Is for the woman accountant with that skill and technique and knowledge to step up and make the contribution from their area of expertise. When they do this, we then end up having tax policies that are sensitive. We end up having financing options for the medium, small and micro enterprises, which largely include women and the youth, that are responsive.
The Secretary to the Cabinet, Mercy Wanjau, who was the chief guest, challenged women accountants to always be in the forefront in nurturing other young women in the profession.
To celebrate the closure of a year and to recognize that the power of professional women accountants play in the economy, in shaping of the policies in this country, so that as we move forward and as we continue to achieve development, we achieve it in an inclusive manner. A female accountant occupies a very critical role in any economy, in contribution, in participation in the various things that happen within a country.
And we learned so much in regards to public finance management, the new trends that are in the market, and in alignment with the government policies.
Wanjau said accounting is a sacred calling, urging the professionals to always uphold integrity in discharging their mandate for the economic growth of the nation.
For women accountants, it's time for them to really bring themselves out to professionalize the many micro, small and medium enterprises which are largely run by women and the youth, in order to ensure that they're able to scale, that they're attractive for investors, they're attractive for lenders, and they boost productivity, profit and growth.
The challenge that I would put across is to have our voice as AWAC being heard more in the finance and accounting space within the country, have our voice being heard when we give, say, opinions on what is happening in the country. That would be a great idea for us to give feedback on bills that touch on the economy and financial matters.
The Association of Women Accountants of Kenya chairperson Hortensia Kaniu, who was the host, urged members to always stay true to their calling, upholding high ethical standards in the field.
And we request all our members to have integrity and also to be accountable in all spheres of the operation, so that we be credible and be helpful people to our government.
Over 1,200 illegal guns have been surrendered in the ongoing disarmament drive across North Rift counties. Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen says the exercise has reduced attacks and improved movement in previously volatile areas. Speaking during a women empowerment program in Koloa, Kerio Valley, Baringo County, the CS urged residents to continue surrendering firearms, stressing that community participation is key to sustaining peace. Area leaders called on locals to support government peace initiatives to secure the region's future.
Hata kama tutakubaliana mambo ni mazuri, haitakuwa mazuri kama watu ambao hawafai kuwa na bunduki bado wanatembea na bunduki. Ndio mimi nataka niwashukuru sana watu wa Tiati na watu wa Baringo County na watu wa Elgeyo Marakwet County na watu wa West Pokot County kwa kukubali kwa kauli moja kwamba ni bora tuondoe bunduki zote kwa mikono ya raia, ipelekwe kwa serikali ndio wananchi waishi pamoja.
Hii maneno ya disarmament inaendelea pande hii vile imefanyika with intelligence. Iendelee hivyo. Sisi tunaunga mkono all efforts to pacify our communities.
Kwa hivyo mimi nawaomba kwa heshima kila mkahaji wa Baringo tuweze kuunga mkono ile disarmament ambayo inaendelea, kwa sababu ni faida yetu, ni faida kwa watoto wetu na ni faida kwa kila mtu ambaye anapenda maendeleo katika Baringo hii yetu.
A group of internally displaced persons from Kisii County is petitioning the government over pending compensation nearly 2 decades after the 2007-2008 post-election violence. Speaking on behalf of the group, Joseph Atambo, chairperson of the Kisii County IDP's marginalized self-group, said many victims were overlooked during earlier resettlement and compensation exercises despite suffering major losses, while some IDPs across the country received cash, land and resettlement support. Atambo noted that several groups from Kisii remain unrecognized due to internal conflicts during the vetting process.
Ilitolewa mbeleni kabisa shilingi 10,000 ndio tulipata. Pesa nyingine tulisikia ilikuja mpaka hapa kwa DC tukakuja tukangangana kuenda mbele, tunaambiwa hakuna jina. Sasa kujiuliza China inaenda wapi na nilipata shilingi 10,000. Ninaambiwa sio mkimbizi.
Tunataka serikali etulipe vile ililipa wale wengine wa Central Province na sehemu za Rift Valley, kwa sababu hao walipewa shilingi 1,400, wakapewa shamba eka 2.5, wakachengewa, wakapewa maji, wakawekewa maji na vile vitu yote inahitajika katika nyumba ya kifamilia. Haya ndio tunataka kutoka kwa serikali yetu.
One person has died and scores of others injured following a road accident involving several vehicles at Moy's Bridge town along the Kitale-Eldoret Highway last evening. The accident also left a trail of damage. The accident happened after a driver of a lorry that was ferrying building stones from a quarry lost control and hit several vehicles, including matatus plying the Kitale-Eldoret road. Confirming the incident, Moy's Bridge Traffic Base Commander George Maelo cautioned drivers to follow the traffic rules and keep all the road users safe during this festive season. The injured passengers have been taken to nearby hospitals in Moy's Bridge, while others were rushed to Omalo Kijana Referral Hospital in Kitale for treatment.
Na barabara iko salama. Ni muhimu sana watu kukaa mbali na barabara, kwa sababu jangwa kama hili unapata limetoka mbali. Ukiangalia kutoka kule juu mpaka hapa kwa bridge, kwa reli.
Unaweza kugonga gari nyeusi pale juu, utagonga robox, utagonga gari ya Kenya Seed, utagonga punda, utaleta majeruhi mingi sana. Na shida hapa kubwa ni barabara ndogo.
Ajali kama hii imetuletea hasara mingi sana. Ukiangalia na magari kama 7 imeweza kuumiza watu wetu hapa. Imeweza kuwa watu wengi sana sio wakangaro. Barabara yenyewe ni ndogo sana.
On education matters, the Human Resource Management Professionals Examination Board and Tharaka University have entered into a pioneering dual certification memorandum of understanding. This agreement, signed by Human Resource Management Professionals Examination Board CEO Margaret Ngu and Tharaka University's Deputy Vice Chancellor Professor Veronica Nyaga, allows students to earn both a university degree and the Certified Human Resource Professional qualification simultaneously. Tharaka University is the first institution to adopt this initiative, which aims to better align academic programs with professional standards and improve graduate employability.
When we engage together with a team from the human resource management professionals, we are saying that our students will be trained to fit in the society.
Means that actually we've got students that are going to graduate both professionally and as well as academically.
We also want to improve inclusivity. It is a policy of the government that we don't leave out the young people. They should be given equal chances, and therefore we are looking at this as an opportunity to include them even in certification.
The program is going to make sure that the people doing HRM are already professionals just from the word go. They'll begin learning the professional skills, and they'll be able to go to the market when they're already competent. So we are leaving that era where we had people finish the academic course and then they look for the professional qualification.
Campaigns for the upcoming Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers branch elections is taking shape, with aspirants presenting their manifestos and agendas to voters. In Nairobi, Peter Wafula, who is seeking the Kupet Nairobi branch chairperson position, has urged leaders, or rather teachers, in the county to elect leaders who genuinely prioritize their welfare. Teachers nationwide are preparing to choose new Kupet officials across all 47 counties. Nairobi is scheduled to hold its elections in January next year, while the national Kupet elections will follow in April.
The successes that we can witness both in curricular and co-curricular activities in our schools, the teacher takes the center stage. So we want the leadership that is elected to recognize that teacher comes first. When we motivate a teacher, when we inspire a teacher, then the success will go down even to our students.
I know that with him as the chair of Nairobi Kupet branch, we will work closely together as he will be advocating for the welfare of the teachers.
Security has been beefed up in around Nairobi ahead of Jamhuri Day celebration set to be held at the Nyayo National Stadium in Nairobi. Nairobi Regional Commissioner Gilbert Kitiyo, in a security briefing ahead of the festivities, say all necessary security measures are in place across the Central Business District and surrounding estates. Kitiyo also informed motorists to expect traffic disruptions, with vehicles on Langata Road heading to town being rerouted to use Madaraka Road roundabout onto Lusaka Road. Motorists using the expressway from Westlands will be redirected to exit at Bunyala, and those from Lolongo will disembark at Capital Center. Importantly, Kitiyo noted that no vehicles will be allowed on the expressway opposite Nyayo Stadium. President William Ruto is expected to preside over the country's 62nd Jamhuri Day celebrations.
At the CBD and in the estates, starting from the eve of the celebrations, that is from today, until the final day, with uniformed and non-uniformed officers deployed at strategic points, and specialized teams will also be available for any eventualities. Proper protocol to welcome distinguished guests and wananchi are in place. On traffic management, all the vehicles from Langata Road will be diverted at Madaraka Road roundabout to Lusaka Road roundabout. while the aerodrome Wakiru Road will be closed between 7 a.m. and 3 p.m. All vehicles on the expressway from Westlands will exit at Bunyala beginning from 7 a.m. and those from Lolongo will exit at Capital Center. No vehicles will be allowed on the expressway opposite Nyayo Stadium. Traffic on all the other roads will operate normally. All motorists are requested to follow the directives of the traffic officers who will be at hand to guide.
A retired principal from Lukuna Secondary School in Bungoma County, Dunstan Wabire, is calling on teachers to guide learners with compassion, reminding educators that students are prone to mistakes and should not be treated as enemies. Speaking after receiving a special visit from his former students, Wabire emphasized that discipline should aim at correcting behavior rather than punishing learners. Led by Pauline Ochami, the alumni thanked Wabire for listening to their challenges, especially when many came from struggling families. Wabire, who said he was deeply moved by the gesture, retired almost 3 decades ago.
Hata kama nilikuwa punish it as a student, you should not punish him in such a way that you don't like him. He's not your enemy. Yes. So your punishment you give a child should be for correction. Huu upendo mnaonyesha mkubwa sana kwangu. Yale machache nilifanya au kazi chache nilifanya kwenu, kumfanya vile muonekane vile mlivyo, nashukuru Mungu.
At least ukiangalia tuko na kitu ambacho tunaweza kujivunia kwacho. Principal wetu alikuwa mzuri, alitulea, hatukuwa tunafukuzwa karo, hata tukifukuzwa na turudisha, tunasoma.
Then where I am today, and I said he's the one who made me to be here. Hiyo inakukumbusha mahali ulitoka, mahali mtu amekutoa.
The Bohra Jamhuri community has conducted a free medical camp in Mariakani, offering critical health services to hundreds of residents as part of their ongoing humanitarian and community support programs. The camp, which brought together medical professionals from various disciplines, provided general checkups, screening for chronic illnesses, and health education aimed at improving well-being among vulnerable families in the area. Community leaders say the initiative is part of their commitment to promoting public health, reducing the burden of disease, and ensuring that underserved communities have access to quality medical care. Residents of Mariakani have welcomed the gesture, saying it comes at a time when many are struggling with the high cost of health care.
Grace this occasion of medical camp in Mariakani. With his guidance and with his lot of knowledge on the humanity, we have tried this on the level base of this medical camp for people of Mariakani to benefit out of it. For their medically people here, some of them cannot afford, but we are looking forward to give them a help in a medical bed so the people of Mariakani can stay healthy.
Most of the specialists are based in the coast in Mombasa, and there were very few specialists in Mariakani. So today we said, let's go to the community and share our services to them. So today we've already consulted almost 250 to 300 patients, the locals mostly, and we are very grateful that they've turned out in good numbers.
Kwa ujumla mimi nimekuja baada ya kupata hili tangazo kwamba kutakuwa na hii matibabu, nikaona ni bora nije nipate ushauri wa kujua hali yangu ya afya namna ninavyoendelea, na kwa kweli mpaka kufikia sasa nimeona matibabu imeenda vizuri.
And away from health matters, learners have graduated digital skills at Ndumberi Jitume Center in Kiambu County as part of the government's agenda to scale up access to digital tools to equip youth with market-ready skills. Speaking in Ndumberi at Ndumberi Jitume Center during the graduation of the module class of 2025, Information, Communication and Digital Economy Cabinet Secretary William Kafogo highlighted key government initiatives under the Kenya Kwanza administration, including reforms in Social Health Authority and Affordable Housing Program. Kiambu Member of Parliament Mashua Waithake, who championed the initiative, urged the Cabinet Secretary to provide computers for the youth, noting the large turnout at the centre was a sign that young people are ready to embrace transformation.
I've seen here today, I'm a happy man. I have not seen one drunk youth. Na hii kazi ninayofanya ndio ile kazi Mheshimiwa Rais anasema kila siku tukanyakanye ili tuweze kujimudu kimaisha. Kuna hao vijana wanne, wasichana sijui wawili na vijana wawili. Mimi nitatafuta laptop kwa kila mmoja wao. Laptops may change their life. This is what Kenya needs to have. Lakini tunapenda siasa sana watu ya Kenya.
Jitume Hub has become a beehive of innovation and opportunity. Youth are flocking here because they can see real results. As we speak, about 100 more young people are on the waiting list, ready to join in January. Even more encouraging, many constituencies from across the country are now benchmarking here, learning from what we have done so that they can replicate in their own areas, in their own constituencies.
While we take a short break, don't go too far. We'll be back with more news.
The moon reminds us of home, even when we live toil away from it. I wish everyone and their families back in China a blessed holiday. May health and happiness be yours.
Hey, great! You wonder what twist of fate brought us together like this? Back in China, I was on the brink of promotion. Then you suddenly popped out of nowhere and took everything.
Confirm your theory first. If it really was them who backstabbed you, I'll be on your side.
Utaruka hapa mpaka ushangae mheshimiwa.
Kweli Nikikwambia uruke sasa utaruka.
Si leo.
Hakuweza kufika. Watoto walikuwa stranded pale. Sasa mimi niko hapa nasikia, yeye yuko hapo asikii.
I want the people who are
kaa chini bwana.
Who is your teacher? I did not teach like that.
Ulifunza
aje? Nilifunza. Why? Are you prefect?
Yeah. Wewe. Prefect anakujia wapi?
Uko na artistic look. Oh, wow. Really? Yes. Wow.
Welcome back. This is Lunchtime News. I'm Jackie Wambiru. I'm joined by Dr. Boniface Oyugi, who is a UK-educated Kenyan alumni and knowledge with a knowledge economy. So we shall be discussing matters, career paths, and welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, so now to kick us off, the number of Kenyans pursuing higher education in the UK has grown significantly in recent years. Perhaps what explains this surge?
Well, that's a very good question to start with, the level of education, particularly in the UK, is very high, comparable to other areas in the world. When you school in the UK, they don't just focus on cramming and downloading the information, particularly on exams. But when you school in the UK, you are taught more things that I often see are not taught in our local setting. The power of critical thinking, for example, it's done and it's taught to a lot of people, particularly in the UK, right from undergraduate. You realize that for those of us who schooled here at home, for instance, we learned how to write proper essays by visiting the UK. That's the first one. And the second thing is many opportunities come when you study abroad. There's the networks that you get. There's the networks, of course, with the classmates, because you go to class with a couple of guys who are very well established. They may be young, but they are very well established, and they provide good information, particularly for future networking. And I think I've noticed over time that when people who've schooled in the UK, for example, come back, I mean sub-Saharan Africa, we tend to have opportunities. And these opportunities come because of, one, name, and the second part particularly is also the thing you're able to do. We are introduced to so much computers. It doesn't mean that back at home we don't have. It's at a higher level. For example, use of softwares in different aspects of training and things like that. So I would say that despite being expensive, that it opens doors to many things. Yeah.
So you've mentioned computing, engineering, perhaps we add business and allied health are among perhaps the fastest growing programs. What does this shift say about Kenya's changing skills landscape?
No, that's actually also a very good question. You remember when we were doing the former higher education component, a lot of it was based on doing exams. They are the softer parts that were never trained, and if they were trained, they were never given an opportunity to practice them, or people had to go way over to really grasp the concept by themselves. So there's elements of communication, there's the element of speaking, there's the element of even debating. Very few people in our countries are able to debate. It doesn't mean that we are bad at it, but there's room for improvement. So sticking to your question, I know you've asked about the other elements of the education like computer science. Yes, back at home we do them and we produce very highly qualified individuals. But if you gel this with the education you seek abroad, then it becomes even better. You're exposed to coding at a very young age, for example. I'll give you an example. When I was doing my MSc, for instance, I was not very good at coding using the statistical softwares that are there. But then you realize you're in class with very young people who challenge you, and even the teachers challenge you to put your effort into this component. So that's a big thing. The engineering courses, the business courses, actuarial science is a common one, especially for Kenyans abroad as well. I mean, they tend to even give you an edge over for other students, particularly who learn back at home as well. So there is a change in our curriculum with the hope that it will become even better and we'll be able to compete effectively with the other people globally.
Mm-hmm. So there are often concerns about brain drain. Mm-hmm. Based on available data, yeah. Are UK-educated Kenyan students returning to contribute locally, mm-hmm. and in what ways?
Again, that's an interesting question. Yes, a brain drain is something that many of us worry about. We train a lot of people. We are training many nurses, for example, many doctors, many pharmacists. And at some point you realize that our market is fairly saturated in some of these courses. And so as an individual, for example, who has parents and things to do, who has responsibilities, then it becomes imperative to seek these opportunities are, say, abroad. Does it mean that they are there to take all the responsibilities and educated people from us? I mean, my answer would be a no. So those of us who've gone to the UK system and have managed to come back, I think we've learned a couple of things. One of the things that I've learned is that you bring back value and you're able to train people, even in workplaces or universities, the things that you experience. And I've seen a majority of us come back. And for those who remain, I think I often notice that a lot of those who remain are for further pursuit of education. Say you go there as an undergraduate or you go there as a master student, you potentially may want to stay longer to even do your PhD. Because remember, back at home, for example, people who do PhDs take way longer time than it is in the UK. For the UK, for example, a master's degree takes between 9 months to 12 months. And comparatively, compare that with our system, particularly in Kenya, then you realize even the length of time is not very well defined. On paper, you know it takes 2 years, but some people doing MSc, for example, have taken up to many years, more than 2, 3, 4, 5. I've seen people doing PhDs locally, have taken even, say, 8 years, for example. These are things that the UK system is very well aligned, and it just allows you to, one, move faster, be critically competent very fast, and be able to associate with your networks very fast. I don't think it is more of a brain drain, but I think it is an opportunity to expand the knowledge. And when we come back, we are able to help in a couple of things. I mean, support government in policy making. That has been a key area that I've focused on or worked with, and I think it brings the respect. I mean, you're able to sit down with very well-educated people in our system, and given the knowledge that you acquired abroad, then, for example, you develop policies together. That's a big thing. Other people come back and struggle though, but when you find a footing, then we become very, the knowledge becomes very, very relevant.
How does the exposure to international research, innovation, and problem solving shape leadership potential when graduates return home?
I mean, it's a double sword, but it's a good thing. Let me start with the positive. The critical thinking allows you to question when you come back at home. Say, for example, we've recently changed our healthcare system, isn't it? We have very competent locals here in our countries who are at the policy level and making these policies. Now, with the exposure you get abroad, you have an opportunity to come and even adjust some of the policies or even propose adjustments to some of the policies. And my experience has showed me that with this education, then it is easier to be given that opportunity and even shape it. Now, the other part, although it may be negative, is that there's the fear of competition. Most people who, for example, go to the UK, go when they're very young. And you find that when you come back home and you want to settle in, say, in a university to teach, the older generation are still grasping kind of power within the universities, especially to make decisions. But over time, I have noticed and realized that we are given an opportunity to actually determine and provide issues, or rather shape issues as they happen in the country. It's a positive thing. I think I have to recommend those who support us to go for these studies, insisting that if you are UK educated or if you are US educated and I gave you a scholarship, then it is up to you. It's mandatory for you to come back and shape some of the policies. And some of the things we do is, like one thing I learned is you take what is done abroad in terms of research, for example, and develop modules, and you bring it back home. And I've seen it changes students in a very positive way.
Other than policy making, perhaps what gaps in Kenya's workforce are being filled by graduates coming back with these global skills?
I think the biggest would be communication. The biggest would be communication and just the ability to speak and discuss issues openly. There's a level of confidence that a UK graduate has, and I think it's based on the education we get. You are given an opportunity to question things. You are given an opportunity to write things and rewrite elements. You are given an opportunity to debate things. So those are different aspects from our education that those of us who've gone in the UK system come back and are often able to provide on the table. And people are listening. People are actually willing to give us an opportunity to do it. The only challenge is that one has to be very proactive. You have to be extremely proactive and able to maneuver your way through our home system. Because think about it, you would be, for example, a 20-year or a 22 or 3-year-old fellow who's done an MSc, and you've been put at a level with those who did MScs at 50s. Now, how do you convince these people that you are not a young man? It's the power of the brain. It's the power of the elements that you contribute in the system. It's the power of the elements that you contribute in research, for example. And this is important because it's accepted and appreciated back at home. I've seen other people, although, who struggle when they're back at home, but I've also seen people who've achieved and have really shaped our system. I can give a couple of examples. I mean, look at the President's advisory team. A lot of them are based on, or rather are composed of people who studied abroad. Is it by choice? I think it's by the virtue that you are taught to question things from a very critical perspective, which for me, I feel it's important. Yeah. All
right, well, I'm told we're out of time. Yeah. Thank you for gracing us with your presence. Well, that was Dr. Boniface Oyugi, who is a UK-educated Kenyan alumni and the knowledge economy. We were deliberating matters, career paths, and, well, thank you, sir. Now, in other news, local communities are being urged to take action and environmental challenges by working together and embracing innovation. Chief Executive Officer of the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Nairobi County, Christine Mwende, says mentorship and collaboration are equipping young people and women with the knowledge and skills to tackle issues such as sanitation, waste management, and community development. Speaking at a national directors and off-year networking event in Nairobi, Mwende highlighted how innovation and collaboration are transforming community challenges into opportunities, including recycling waste into usable resources and introducing sanitation technologies in areas without sewer system.
We have an array of programs, and one of the programs that I'm going to talk about is the Jinwe Growth Program that is supporting the young women and young youth between the age of 18 to 35, and the support that you are giving to KNTCI. And because this is something that we came to notice, that our young people, and actually now people have, the students have graduated. So after graduating, what's the next level? As KNCCI, what we do is capacity build them, give them the nitty-gritties, the foundational knowledge and skills when it comes to building your business.
I've called people who are experts in networking, telling directors some of the things to expect when they are growing, after they have grown, and what is it they need to experience for people who have experienced business and its challenges. So for me, I am very grateful.
Energy Principal Secretary Alex Washira says plans are underway to increase the installed geothermal capacity from the current 985 megawatts to more than 1,400 megawatts by 2029. Washira says a number of initiatives are being implemented to expand renewable power generation.
Kenya has about 10,000 megawatts of untapped geothermal energy, primarily in the Great Rift Valley. Several measures are being employed to harness the geothermal energy to anchor Kenya's target of achieving 100% renewable energy by the year 2030.
We are hoping and we are acting very fast to ensure that by the time we are hosting this conference, we should be in the range of 1,400 to 1,500 megawatts of geothermal into the country.
Currently, geothermal accounts for a significant of electricity generated in Kenya.
Lowering transmission and generation system losses helps in lowering our bills and also builds about what you call energy efficiency, because we can generate, and when we are generating, we are still losing it. So the more we conserve, the better for us.
He was speaking at a breakfast meeting with stakeholders on the start of formal preparations for the World Geothermal Congress to be held by Kenya in 2029.
As we begin preparations now in earnest for the WGC 2029, we take note that the Congress is not just any other meeting. It's going to be a convention of minds, vision and resolve. It reflects the growing cognition that geothermal is not only a key part of the global energy.
It is very important for us not just to sell the technicalities of the Congress, but to sell the experience. What will we experience when we come, or when our visitors come to Kenya? The fourth thing, first of all, of course, it increases international arrivals. The delegates that will come, whatever number they are, they will normally be accompanied by researchers, aides, security, and all kinds of people. So you'll expect probably around 6,000 people who will be visiting our country, and they'll be filling up our hotels and our other facilities.
The World Geothermal Congress brings together researchers, policymakers, and industry leaders to review global progress in geothermal energy and set priorities for the next cycle. Alanauko, Lunchtime News.
Kenya is positioning its arid and semi-arid regions as the country's next investment frontier through data palm industry capable of reshaping the economics of the dry lands. Now, Agriculture and Food Authority Director General Dr. Bruno Linyeru says Kenya produced only 1,100 kilograms of dates in 2023 and spent more than 359 million shillings importing the fruit in 2024 despite having nearly identical climatic conditions.
The gap between natural potential and actual production of dates is increasingly being viewed as one of Kenya's most underexploited commercial opportunities. Majol, one of the premium varieties, can fetch up to 1,200 shillings per kilogram on export markets.
So our purpose here to see how we can grow this sector. And in terms of food security, food safety, I think this is the way to go, looking at the climatic patterns that are changing. So this is the area that we need to invest in.
A single hectare of well-managed mature palms can generate between 3.4 million shillings and 4.4 million shillings annually, with productive lifespan that stretch for decades. The delegation in Kibwezi also assessed an intercropping model in which date palms grow alongside mangoes, pixies, oranges, okra and other horticultural crops.
We have sweated the wetlands enough. We now need to sweat the arid lands. And we need to look at what grows there. And there's nothing that can grow there. The soils are very good.
The approach, which increases land productivity and cushions farmers with multiple revenue streams, is being hailed as a blueprint for profitable dryland agriculture.
We now need to start opening up the rest of the country, supporting dryland agriculture so that we can actually feed ourselves.
The plan signals a transition toward climate-aligned, revenue-generating agriculture capable of transforming household incomes.
Lack of a common currency and travel restrictions are some of the restrictions slowing intra-African trade. Investment stakeholders are therefore calling on African governments to put in place measures that will accelerate capital flows and mobilize the global African diaspora to invest back home. Speaking in Nairobi during the launch of the building for Africa Business Investment Show, the investment stakeholders decried the low intra-African trade that currently accounts for only 15% of Africa's total trade.
As Africans, we should own our own story, we should own our own resources, invest in our own resources and amplify how much our resources are giving us more economics of scale in the continent over borrowing.
I think even in terms of regionally, what I like about the East African region as well is that in itself can be quite fortified and quite powerful. So I'm not saying we need to start full Africa from the get-go. I'm just saying start small. Start in terms of accepting your country, your particular country within all of its regions. Then start looking in terms of your regional section of Africa, and then start really cross-pollinating with other nations.
Ultimately, as we know, last year alone in 2024, $4 billion came into Kenya. And we are saying that if we create the right environment and we showcase the right opportunities, Africans in diaspora as well as other Africans across the continent would invest within the continent.
There's urgent need for stronger intra-African investment frameworks if the continent is to unlock long-term self-sustaining growth. This message emerged during the opening of the African Investment Conference 2025 in Nairobi, where finance and policy leaders from across the continent called for deeper cross-border cooperation and African-driven funding models to reduce dependency on external financing. Now, Investment Promotion Principal Secretary Abubakar Hassan is calling for urgent removal of barriers to intra-African capital flows and scaling African design investment models that reflect the continent's realities.
Have EAC and we have the other one in the West, so that we can combine them to become a common market for whoever produces in Kenya. But most importantly, the President is championing the operationalization of the Africa Free Continental Trade Area, so that we can have a market of 1.4 billion people with a 3.4 trillion GDP.
We have adequate capital in Africa. The issue is being able to mobilize it. And to mobilize that capital requires us to start paying attention not only to the numbers. So, for example, we've mentioned the fact that there's more than $700 billion of pension funding across Africa. So we need to start seeing this funding going into investments, infrastructure, projects, investment into businesses, and not just currently seated mostly in financial assets.
It is back to the drawing board for the government after the High Court on Thursday suspended the implementation of the Kenya-US 5-year health deal pending the determination of a case by Consumer Federation of Kenya and Busia Senator Okiya Omtata alleging medical data breach. Justice Bahata Mwamue gave the orders and slated it for mention on February 12, 2026 before Justice Lawrence Mugambi for compliance and directions. Now, the deal had been signed in Washington, D.C. on December 4th by Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi and U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio in a ceremony attended by President William Ruto. Busia Senator Okiya Omtata has welcomed the ruling.
Health is a devolved function.
There's been no involvement of the Senate, no involvement of the other organs. You go ahead, you find that when you look at the question of Chapter 12, public finance, there are major agreements on finances, committing the Kenyan government to pay, I think it's 10, then 20, then I think 30, 40, then 50 billion shillings over that period of year incrementally. Who has appropriated that money? Why is the government going to get that money? You go further, you find that there are thousands of employees, the people who are going to be recruited to work under this arrangement. And then in 2028, when the arrangement expires, they are supposed to transfer to the government.
Announced to sports news, 48 teams will fight for the 2025 Masangeli Cup, which has officially kicked off today in Saboti, Trans Nzoia County. The tournament will feature 32 men, 8 women and 8 junior teams and is aimed at nurturing talents and creating opportunities for the young people.
Out in 3 categories, all looking to be crowned champions of 2025. The tournament, to be played across 4 venues in Saboti, Trans Nzoia County, is aimed at identifying and nurturing the sporting talents in the county, as well as creating opportunities for the young people, especially during the holiday season.
It's not only football. The youth will be engaged in issues of communication, and I'm with my friend here, Humphrey, from AI, who will take them through issues of IT. There will also be other counsellors coming in to take the youth on issues of drug abuse and alcohol abuse, which is very rampant. And this is a very important tournament because it will engage the youth through the holiday. And you know, our youth are very energetic and we should utilize their energy.
Blessed Dreamers and Red Arrows opened the 2-week tournament with a curtain raiser encounter of the 96 matches to be played until the last day on the 26th of December 2025.
From us as Inua AI group, you're coming in to support from a technology aspect. We're combining sports with technology. We would like to talk to these young people because the future is all about technology, more so AI. And as I've mentioned in the past, when internet came, it made a lot of millionaires. And we have artificial intelligence is coming, and it will make multiples of what the internet did. So we want Saboti people to be part of that, and the whole of Trans Nzoia as well.
The tournament was first held in 2021 and has since supported the youth and sports in the grassroots, with this year's event set to be played at Koekoe, Saboti, Kapretwa and Gituwamba football grounds.
European champions PSG failed to break down. The city recovered from a goal down to beat perennial winners Real Madrid 2-1 and leave manager Xabi Alonso precariously holding on to his job. In other news, the Kenyan National Chamber of Commerce and Industry has confirmed KK Mutahi as its new Chief Executive Officer after serving in an acting capacity for the past 6 months. Mutahi has for over 20 years of experience in corporate management across the energy and retail sectors, trade facilitation, investment advocacy and strategic partnerships and acquisition. The Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry says Mutahi's experience will be key in enhancing private sector empowerment and strategic partnerships. Well, that brings us to the end of our bulletin this afternoon. Thank you for watching Lunchtime News. My name is Jackie Wambiru. Our sign language interpreter is Susan Thuku. Enjoy the rest of your day.
we want to delve on a topic on spiritual maturity. There are many ways that people grow, and one of the ways to grow is also grow spiritually.
But the Bible says when you go in the book of Romans, inasema as many as are led by the Spirit of God, now they become sons.
Okay.
So maturity now toka from a child to a son.
Okay.
Christ honesty closer than a friend. Wenda upotu hati yako pale, and again, akikuambia uende kwa mentor fulani, manze sikumika huko. Na huo mentor Kenya atakwambia, watch a story mob, submit, skiza, na God atakuhelp.
You're not too young to know God, not too young. By the age of 12, Jesus alikuwa anachambua scripture.
Niambie tu kama iwezekani mimi.
Faili haionekani, faili ya bwanako haionekani.
Uliambiwa faili haionekani, unasikia?
Na vile watu wananijua kama na pesa, walikuwa pesa mimi nazo. Nakupenda hivyo ukicheka.
Asante. Haya, acha tuonane mpenzi.
Kunigusa hivyo nasikia roho baridi.
Nimeumia mguu, nimevunjika mguu. Natuma mke wangu aje achukue pesa. Na achukue faili hivi niipeleke hospitalini. Anakataa. Unataka nife unifanye nini?
Because you give us suffer. Don't want to give her money.
Zoa pesa za ubibi.
From house.
Zoa na pesa za ubibi.
Yes. You kanyagia file.
Jamhuri ndio wanatufuta nyuma. Twenda songa mbele nao wanatufuta nyuma.
Si ndio?
Hongo kila mahali hongo. Ukienda wapi hospitalini hongo?
Nataka hongo.
Mke wangu.